You're watching the Tesla Life. Your host, Mark Coughlin.
There's the audio effects guy on his job. Way to go. Way to go. It is, what is it? The 27th of September, near the end of September. As you can see, we're missing one of the co-hosts. Patrick Connor should be joining us any moment. He just had to do a quick reboot, so he should be back here shortly.
I'm about to go 2 frames a second as I load up all the articles.
So yeah, we had a bit of a rush to the finish here to get the start of the show going, but Casey's got our first story of the evening, and looks like another who's late to the party.
Yes. Oh, Jaguar. So our friends over at Jaguar, they finally have joined the Supercharger Coalition, and the same story as everybody else. Except they did the same thing that who just joined before them. One of the other latecomers, that they pretended that there was no 2024. They're like, oh yeah, you'll be able to join with a NACS native port in 2025, blah blah blah. And then you read the fine print. Oh, and 12,000 superchargers starting 2024 with adapters. But they actually called out adapters coming from Tesla, whereas everybody else said, we'll be supplying adapters. These guys said,
right,
Tesla will be supplying adapters.
They're not joking around at all. They just right to the point. Yeah, you're not getting it from us. We're not making these adapters. Tesla is. So,
exactly. And so
if you don't get them, it's Tesla's fault.
Right, and they'll take care of existing iPace customers. And then I thought that iPace was on the chopping block. So I don't know if that's like for the last little bit of a run or for their next car that's coming up.
Yeah.
And I would say this is the second lamest intro to joining the Supercharger Coalition, behind Volvo's. I don't even think it was a press release. Volvo let Tesla tweet it, and then Polestar had a press release and a website.
Yeah, you think these multi-million-dollar companies would have a better press corps inside to release some of this stuff, but
you might think so.
It just sounds like some of this was rushed, but certainly not in Jaguars. That's been quite some time since we've seen a new NACS candidate join the party. But
yes.
But again,
and then,
this is locked up. Like we're gonna have a ton of people on the NACS. It's just
it's gonna be the way to go.
But what's kind of interesting is that it's always mentioned the same deal, right? 12,000 superchargers in the U.S. and a total of
North America.
Yeah, and then a grouping of adapters coming in 2024, and then port change in 2025 for the cars.
And to our international viewers, our non-US, non-Canada viewers, I wasn't saying that we feel more important about ourselves, but in regards to talking about NACS, the only place that matters for NACS. I mean, there's South Korea, Japan, Taiwan, but nobody over there has really said anything yet. And in the CCS2 land, it doesn't matter at all. So what I was saying about Monroe there, they were talking with Polaris about their electric side-by-side or UTV or whatever you want to call that particular category. And they called them out. Exactly. They said, hey, everybody's going NACS. What are you doing? And, we're looking at it. We're going to evaluate the market and whatever's best for the customer. I'm like, well, whatever's best for the customer is using the same plug as everybody else.
Right. Well, Patrick Connor has joined us from the West Coast. How are you today, sir?
Hello, everybody out there in the Tesla Life world. Somehow, I was on time and Casey was late, and yet I got to skip the intro. I'm not sure how that worked, but that's what happened.
It's been that kind of a technology day this evening, hasn't it? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
He's the guy in the control room, so.
Yep. He controls all the levers. So,
right.
I'd like to quick shout out and hello to Hockey Day, June C, and JT, and David Mead has just joined us as well. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining.
Hello and happy National Drive Electric Week. We've been plugging it for months, and this is it. It's happening right now.
It is. Yeah. It is. And I have already gone to one event. I went to Lewiston, New York, and went to the
Awesome.
event there. That was pretty cool. Just right across the river from Queenston, Ontario. And it was a great event. They had Lewiston was having their harvest festival in the main street as well. So there's a ton of people that had no idea about EVs, which is the best way to show them because we had about 24 cars available to be shown.
Awesome.
So had a great time. And of course, our big one here in Waterloo, Ontario happens this Saturday. And we have, get this, 90 cars lined up for the show.
Wow.
90.
Wow.
0. So about 27 different models total. And we're going to be having that on Saturday from 11 till 3. If you can join us, please do. You can visit National Drive Electric Week. Check out the Waterloo event, and you can see all the cars that are going to be there. We're even going to have a Rivian, which is a first for Ontario because Rivians have not been introduced in Ontario yet. We're waiting for them. So this guy that's coming to the show actually bought his Rivian in Ohio and drove it back to Ontario. So it's kind of a transplant Rivian, but we're happy to have it because that'll be the first one on display.
Nice. It's also the anniversary week of Tachikoma, my Model X. 5 years.
Oh,
5
cool.
years old. 5 years.
Yeah, if you want to check out EVs, see a lot of them, and not have to deal with salespeople and get the truth from people who actually own them, this is the way to do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. A lot easier to talk to owners about myths and issues and solutions and real benefits that people have seen. So we look forward to everybody. Yes, there is another big show in Rochester, New York, same date as ours. So we're Waterloo and Rochester are competing, but we are 4 hours apart. So there's a difference in distance as well. So very good.
Drive the car
Very
through. Cool.
Well, let's get on to some more news. Here's a cool story that all Tesla owners are going to like. Apparently, they've contabulated what the most stolen car is in North America. And guess what? It's not a Tesla. It is. It's in fact, it's a Dodge Hellcat, but we're not going in that part of the story. We're looking at the very bottom of the list. We're looking at the cars that get stolen the least. And on that list, Tesla Model 3 and Y are the bottom two. So that's great news to anyone that owns a Tesla that your car is not being targeted to be stolen because they are so difficult to steal. And of course, if someone magically got the car stolen anyway, you can show the police a live feed of where the car is right on your phone. So there is that ability that, and of course, you may even be using the pinned drive, which of course would stop others from stealing the car, getting it mobile. So there's so many things that, and of course, there's SentryMode too for the. You've got the recorded video of the people breaking into your car. So you've got evidence, you've got the ability to know where the car is, and unless they put it in some sort of a ferret box or something, you've got access to know where that car is at all times.
Somebody did try that. They put the car in a shipping container and tried to send it to South America, but they caught it when it caught a stray cell signal off of like Washington or California, and they apprehended it. We have a story of it.
All it takes is them to open those doors near a cell tower, and that's it. Boom. The car will start communicating again.
Right. They also said, if you happen to have an all-wheel drive Model 3 or Model Y, you're even better off than if you have a classic Model 3. And if I understood it correctly, the Model X and the Model S are also doing all right, just because of their price. But they said that on the other cars, the price didn't necessarily have as much of an impact as to whether or not they were trying to steal it. Are you blowing kisses?
What's with Baby Green? What's with Moto's head? Is it light? Is she spinning it back and forth?
She likes to shake her hair back and forth. She loves eating a hard-boiled egg and throwing it on me.
Ah, that's what's happening. It's a food fight in the Green household right now. Very
She's
good.
waving, but her hand is too low for the camera.
And speaking, of course, about stolen vehicles, our next story was kind of cool. We always hear about people getting their car maybe vandalized or damaged when it sits in a parking lot. This next story is about a group that was parking on street parking, angled parking on street. And they had a vehicle that had gone beyond the parking spot and was waiting for someone to back out and leave. And then they were going to have to back down the street they just came up, which of course is illegal. You shouldn't be backing up to get into an angled parking spot. So a Tesla behind them, Model 3, pulled in and parked. And the person got irate that was sitting in the middle of the street waiting for the parking spot that they've already passed. And the Tesla owner just kind of waved them off. They went away. The Tesla owner went in and got his meal and got alerted on his phone that the SentryMode went off, and was able, of course, to see a person come up to the car, key the car, and then leave it. So they went back to the car, of course, saw the keying on the car, reviewed the tape again, and then proceeded to look in the local restaurant around the parking spot and found the assailant sitting down at a table. Went up to the assailant and said, "What are you doing scratching my car?" The person claimed they did no such thing and to go away. So they did go away. They went back out to their car. They called the police. The police showed up. They showed the police on the Tesla the infraction, and he pointed out what restaurant the person was in. The police went in, asked the same question. The person lied, said they had nothing to do with such a thing, not knowing the police had already watched the videotape in the Tesla. They picked them up from their seat, brought them outside, and asked the person of the Tesla if they wanted them charged. He said yes. The handcuffs were put on them, and the person was taken away. So there was, and of course, SentryMode caught the cuffs being put on the person. So that was that was quite the win for SentryMode. As it, we always hear these stories about people not knowing they're on videotape and they're not knowing they're on camera and being recorded in the infraction that they're doing. This is just another case of that. Of again, people not really cluing into all these Teslas have a recording on board that's going to catch people who are trying to damage a car.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we just heard about how the thieves have figured it out. Now the vandals need to figure it out. Yeah, this story needs to get out there far and wide. Do not key a Tesla; you will pay.
Well, the problem is the vandals aren't in their right state of mind. They're seeing red, sometimes literally with all the red Teslas out there.
Exactly.
My video seems to be hung up here. It says I'm having bandwidth issues, but I'm hearing you guys fine.
Your photo is frozen, but we're hearing you fine.
Okay.
And Casey's photo is frozen on my end, but I'm hearing him fine. So
yeah, I turned it off because the baby spilled that egg all over me, and I'm cleaning it up.
Okay. So it's not a pretty sight in the Casey household at this moment. So
got egg on your face.
No, egg on my feet.
Well, we'll roll on to our next story, and this is about Model 3 Highland. Rumors have persisted that in European certification documents, it hints at a upgraded performance Highland. So this is not any huge surprise. Tesla did not introduce a Model 3 Highland performance at launch. They just came out with the regular long range and standard range vehicles. And with this information, it looks like a performance is in the works as far as the certification paperwork shows. So Tesla
this is our second confirmation of that because one of the new raffle prizes or referral prizes is you can get into a raffle for a performance Model 3.
Exactly.
So it is official from Tesla that it is coming.
And it looks like, of course, it's probably going to roll out first in Europe or Shanghai or both.
Well, I mean, they've already got the car body, so why not also give them the rest of the car?
What do you mean by that, Casey?
Well, the new Model 3 is launched in those locations, so why not have a new Model 3 Performance? Whereas here we already have a Model 3 Performance, but it's the old one.
Yeah.
Also, in typical Tesla fashion, the rumors have rumors. So the digit that denotes performance on their documentation is a T, and on the Palladium cars, that T also represents performance, but it's a tri-motor, the Plaid. And so some folks are really hoping that the Model 3 Performance is a tri-motor. It's a possibility, but it looks like Tesla's just using that to say performance at the moment. So it could happen, but I wouldn't hold my breath because
I wouldn't hold my breath either. Yeah,
right. It sounds like even the performance model Cybertruck might not be a quad motor situation like we were talking about. So it's best to be surprised when it comes out.
It's something that I think the T is definitely just to say it's dual motor. I'd be shocked if they came out with a Plaid Model 3. I just think that they're probably going to hold that for the higher price cars.
Right. I mean, right now, yes, it's very likely that Model S and X get canceled. But while you still make it and can charge so much extra for it, don't step on its toes.
Yeah.
I mean, there already is now significant overlap between the 3 and the S, and soon the Cybertruck and the X. But they're not yet at a point where they're forced to decide if they're going to try and redo the S and X so they can do them at scale profitably, or if they just want to cancel them because they are just dessert gravy, or however Elon wants to call it this week. So it's possible that they make a Plaid Model 3, but it's not wise to wait around for such a thing.
My video's working again. Woohoo!
And the other thing is that outside of this performance that has been leaked or has been told to us in a couple of different ways, Elon talked about a performance Cybertruck as well in a tweet. So not a surprise there either. Like if Tesla's going across the board with its 3 and its Y, the Cybertruck would have to have a performance model so they could do an uptick on the price and a little bit more performance in the vehicle. I can definitely see that that's the way it will be standard for all their vehicles, because they can put out a standard range, a long range, and a performance, and have 3 different price points to entice more people just to upgrade a little bit.
But will it have track mode in the Cybertruck?
They better. I'm tired of being in the no track mode situation while owning a performance car.
Apparently, Patrick's going to have river mode.
You can float for a short while.
Get your fishing done quick, because it is a short while.
Right.
And they're not saying how long, so it's up to you.
They never do. They probably also still void your warranty if you do it, because Elon said it, not the company.
That's right.
Same thing he said about the tunnel in Russia and the other one that we saw floating and the one in China. You can float for a short while, and sometimes they'll talk about wheel thrust, and then
a cardboard box will float for a short while, but that doesn't mean it's a smart thing to take it out in the water.
Right. And then people try to get their warranty claims, and then they get denied, and they're like, "But Elon, Elon's not." So the other thing to look at with this Performance Model 3 is that it is much lighter than the Performance Model S, so it might still get in that same realm without having to have 3 motors, because it weighs 1,000 pounds less.
Yeah, it is lighter. Yeah, definitely.
And also, if something does happen to the S before anybody's expecting it, that also gives them room to put 3 motors in the Model 3 if they physically fit.
And of course, this Model 3 is the most slippery that Tesla has ever built, as well as being lighter and about 20% smaller than the S.
Yeah.
So
and they were very clear when they said that the speeds had been reduced because of the tires on the the new non-slipstream tires. They said that only the long range and the standard had the speed reduction. They didn't say that the performance didn't, but they did imply it because there was no performance at the time they made the announcement.
yeah. Well, speaking of the Cybertruck a little bit, our next story centers around Giga Texas. And as you may or may not know, currently, Giga Texas employs about 20,000 workers. So we're sitting at about 20,000 currently. And this is the beginning, obviously, we believe, of the ramp for Cybertruck. We believe that's going to start shortly, although we don't have confirmation on a delivery date yet. Rumors persist. It's going to be sometime in October. But again, no official word from Tesla as of this moment. But what was interesting is as the Cybertruck ramps up in production, they believe, Tesla has indicated that they believe they will be hiring an additional 40,000 workers, or tripling its workforce to get up to 60,000 once Cybertruck has reached its regular rollout ramp. So that's going to be great for employees in Austin area. It looks like they're going to require a lot more people to work for Tesla on that line. And of course, we've heard about the Model Next going to be built in Texas as well. And we've heard about, obviously, all the land that's there. I think that it's going to be a major employer in Texas for a great amount of time going forward. In fact, I believe at 60,000 people, it will be the #1 manufacturer in Texas for sure.
From what I'm hearing in the news, and that's assuming that they did their research correctly, they are currently the second largest employer in Texas, and only missing that by about 3,000 people. So if they add another 40,000 people, they are going to be the largest employer in Texas.
Largest manufacturer employer, because there is a retail group, HEB, I believe is the name. It's a grocery store, and they have more employees.
Okay.
Patrick is muted.
So according to Google, just in real time here, HEB employs 18,000 people right now. And University of Texas at Austin has about 24,000. And the largest employer in the state, which doesn't really count, is the state itself, which has about 64,000 employees.
Okay.
So that would put Tesla as the #1 employer if they get to non-government, yeah. And by a wide margin.
All different rules, yeah. But and yet, with all those state employees, they can't get a car sold in Texas legally. Unbelievable. Yeah. They're not pushing that paper correctly.
Yeah. Push that paper faster. You got 64,000 people to push that paper. It should go pretty fast.
Oh, man. Casey, maybe you can help me out with this next story. Maybe you can queue up the video if you could find it.
Yeah, okay. I got it.
So Tesla gave us an update on TeslaBot with a video that they posted, and showed the new dexterity that the TeslaBot has been able to perform. What was really interesting was to see the manipulation of its fingers on the end of the arms. And of course, the balance that it showed in the video was very impressive as to how this robot is actually taking shape. And in the video, of course, the robot is on its own and just kind of going through the motion. It does look like the video was a little bit sped up. You'll be able to see the human in it. Go ahead and
there's a little bit of speeding up.
Yeah, I think they said in the video it's 150% speed.
Okay.
A 1.5x.
Yeah.
All right, I muted it because, as usual, Tesla just loves to make us run up against the censors on YouTube.
Yep.
The music that they're actually playing is the soundtrack to Deus Ex Machina.
Ah. And you said dance ex machina?
Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah, so that's a funny pun, yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you remember what happened in that movie, the cyborg, the robot. I don't want no spoilers. The robot.
Robots and humans didn't get along so well. Let's just leave it at
not in that movie. Yeah.
There you go. And if you have seen it, you know exactly why I'm stumbling over what to say about it, given they applied it here.
That's incredible dexterity, though.
It is.
And to think, this is allegedly the same system and programming as V12 for FSD. So,
yeah, there's little things there where like you see the hips tilt to balance when your balance point is changing as you move your arms and legs. That's going to shift the balance point. And it's end-to-end training. So this was not explicitly coded.
I'm sure the dance and the yoga were, or at least they said, here's a bunch of people doing dance and yoga.
Apparently, it was all vision based. So this as Patrick said, is not programmed. It was given a task, and it was able to perform that task with the vision and sensors that it's got on its arms and legs as it performed this task. But
10,000 hours of 80s yoga.
I would really be curious to see how much work had to go into this demonstration as opposed to maybe a Boston Dynamics video where it does a dance. Like, I'm wondering if Tesla is using a number of its features from its car, the autopilot features at all, if that helped them in the ability to perform these tasks without individual programming.
Right. So I'm wondering now if Optimus is still hardware 3, and like you said, what they had to do to train it to do yoga. For the car, they never taught it to read signs. They just showed it millions of hours of people driving and learned what the signs look like. I think it might have helped to teach it to read, but
Optimus is probably hardware 3, and he just has to call in and book an appointment to get hardware 4.
Schedule your upgrade, Optimus.
He was hardware 3 last time we saw him with his chest off, but we don't know what's under there this week.
Exactly. Okay. So that would be pretty cool. Next story, Casey, you must know about this one. In Germany?
I heard of it. I didn't watch it, but so in Germany they went for the largest Tesla light show yet, and they had, what was it?
255.
Right, and they played "Can't Stop" by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I think I did see this. Maybe it was from a different angle than they show in the article, because mine was definitely ground level.
Tough to keep all 255 in the proper sync, but
you might think so. But remember, there was an update that we got.
Yes,
that you set when they go off.
Right. So if you coordinate it and they're all using the same time,
the same clock, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're all synchronized to the same clock. So
now, had they tried this 8 months ago, woo!
Yeah, you have to do a big countdown. 3, 2, 1, and then somebody's finger snaps.
Yeah, exactly. I remember at one of our shows, we had a hard time getting 3 of them to go off at the same time with the remote, or the people in the car pressing the button at the right time and getting out of the way. So,
shoot, sometimes it's hard enough with just 2.
Yeah, so 255.
That's a good man. That's a good record. So I'm sure that's going to just continue and blow out even further. So we'll keep our eye on that over time.
FFF.
Exactly.
In hex.
It is, but also what else?
Yeah, the future free from fossil fuel. We're halfway there with 255.
So over at Gigafactory, Texas, we had been noticing, it's been reported, of course, with the daily drone flyovers, that Tesla had slowed down on the production of vehicles.
Yeah, I can
And
take
it was
this one, Mark.
rumored. It was rumored that there was a retooling going on for a little bit of time. In fact, over a week and a half, 2 weeks, that there was this retooling going on. And as of this week, the production of vehicles had started to pick up. So, and of course, that's an easy thing to notice with drones because they're just looking for the output at the back as cars line up to be loaded up on semis or not rail cars in Giga Texas, but they are transported by truck to a rail depot. So it's all truck traffic at the factory. But that was noticed by the drone army. And so it's looking that some of those retooling options are completed and they're starting to roll those out. So that's good news for Tesla numbers. Although I have seen recently that a number of analysts are calling for Tesla to miss its quarterly number. They believe that there has been a slowdown to a point where they're not going to hit the number that was publicized previously.
We're playing this game again.
That is what they told us at their last quarterly call, was that they were doing these shutdowns. And I guess the shutdown took a little bit longer than expected. But Tesla doesn't release quarterly estimates. They said 1.8 million for the year. And I think they're still easily going to hit that. So
right. But even if Tesla had given the numbers, all right, we're going to make 255,000 per factory, and then these analysts would still make up their own number, and then
that's where it came from.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
exactly.
These analysts their job is to produce quarterly numbers, right? They're the ones that are scorecarding companies. Doesn't matter what Tesla says, they're saying they should do this, and they're definitely reporting on that every quarter.
Right. Casey's a one-man
so the
factory.
part of
we think he should make 100 videos this year. He's only done live streams. We grade that as a miss.
The part of the article that I liked is while the Cybertrucks were spotted from a distance, fans were quick to point out the improved build quality of the units, which were reportedly the first units to roll off of the new production line after the upgrade. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Maybe the truck's really going to come out next month. That would be awesome.
I believe so.
Man, they've got to come out. It's got to be some sort of a launch event by the end of October. I'm really hoping.
Yeah.
And I don't even have an order in on one, so it's I am sure that there are many people that are just dying to get their hands on it. And what I'm interested in seeing is how these trucks turn the real outside world into a video game, because they're going to look so bizarre on the roads. It's going to be so strange. Speaking of strange in a good way, is that we saw another video of a new wrapped CyberTruck that was out on the street, kind of a digital blue pixelated look, and I thought that looked pretty good.
The one with the round wheel?
Yeah.
Aren't most wheels round?
well, no. The wheel.
Steering wheel, not the other wheels.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Not the other four wheels. Yeah.
So we also saw photos of this thing squeezing itself in these tiny San Francisco townhouse garages. So there's hope yet that you can actually get a pickup truck in your garage. Not me, because the Model S was touching the door and the back wall, and the Model X touches the back wall and through the door. But anybody else who didn't have an incompetent builder.
Do you know how far down the list you are, Casey, for your CyberTruck reservation?
The next morning at about 7 a.m. So
that's about a million. No,
I have a lot of people who bought like 34.
Exactly.
And to that end, many of us, we were able to look in on our reservation and saw that it had no details except that we had reserved. It didn't say whether you had autopilot. It didn't say which of the, at the time, 3 trims that you could pick from. And hopefully that's a sign, and hopefully they honor the FSD price, because I don't want to pay today's price.
Right.
Not if they told me, hey, we're going to honor these prices. And yes, if you look into the fine print, it says they don't have to, but
There's certainly a lot of unknowns when it comes to this rollout, this launch, and of course that's going to affect the number of the reservation holders, right? Like you had people that were signing up for the $39,000 truck, and as far as we know today, that may not even ever exist. And as you mentioned, the price of the FSD was another thing. There's certainly a number of unknowns that we really don't know what's going to happen with this launch event.
It has one less seat than they promised.
That's right. Yep, it was going to be a 6-seater. Absolutely.
And we saw a prototype with a binnacle like on SNX, and that one was quickly hidden away. Looks like it's only going to have one center screen, but larger.
Yeah.
And then will it have front cameras?
It might, because everyone that we've seen so far had the front cameras. But then they rolled out the new Model 3 with cameras in the picture, but not in the flesh.
Right, and then they quickly went away. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the renders were changed immediately, right? So that's weird. It's just weird. I don't know why they would eliminate a camera when it was there, but again, who knows? Who knows where it's going?
The same company that removes the hardware you need for features that you have because they can do it with other hardware before the software.
Eventually.
By a long shot. 4 years to get the wipers working right?
Indeed. Well, let's move on across the pond. Story about Denmark. Tesla is celebrating its first 50,000 sales in the country of Denmark, which is a big win. Again, a European colder nation is right beside, of course, Sweden, Norway area. And of course, the uptick for Norway has been incredible. And Denmark, being in the general area, obviously not right there, but in the general area, experiences the same type of weather and as Sweden and Norway. And it's started to be successful there. So excellent news. Tesla continues to roll out in new countries. Thailand is now selling a bunch of Model Ys. So it's another market that it's obtained. Model S started sales in Japan. So that's another new thing. Yeah.
Still it's left-hand drive, so you also get the reacher over there.
Oh, man.
You get the Tesla reacher. It's a T and it closes on itself, so you can just reach it.
Oh, man. The way they entered Thailand was kind of interesting. They started with the police fleet, and then they got certified and became something you could just buy from the website. I don't know if they were imported or if that was like you must be able to be past the police test before you can sell a car here or something.
Yeah,
that's weird. I
think that they were probably third market somehow when that police fleet arrived, because that was well over a year ago, wasn't it?
It was like a year before they even went on sale over there.
Yeah. So,
and they were all performance too. It's like, the cops need to have the fastest Teslas.
Exactly.
Yeah.
One thing about this Denmark story is that they are crediting Giga Berlin for making sure that they could actually get the vehicles on time and not have huge backlogs while they're waiting for things to be shipped from China. So, it's just you're going to sell more vehicles if people can get them in a couple weeks versus months.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then this was cool too. It also says that now Tesla is 2% has 2% market share in Denmark. So just with 50,000 vehicles, they're already at 2%.
Yeah. So that's a pretty good marker for a relatively small amount of vehicles. But again, starting in Denmark, not all that long ago. Let's face it, the Model Y hasn't been out, a huge amount of time. Like it's obviously a big winner in any country it shows up in, and 50,000 in Denmark is a great start for them.
Yeah, I like the photo they used was that new silver color.
The Quicksilver.
Yeah.
Quicksilver that quickly left the North American market on the Model 3s.
Totally a different color.
Yep.
Yeah, of course, Berlin's got that fantastic paint shop, which we're hoping that we will see in other locations soon. But
Right.
speaking of...
Mexico should have it, right? Because if they don't have it, then something's up.
Yeah. And speaking of rollouts, Magic Dock has started to push out a little bit further in new states.
Alaska.
It's exactly, and that would have been almost the last place I would have thought, because
Right.
Alaska has 2 superchargers total. That's it,
Wow.
2. So it's pushed out into Alaska.
Can they reach the Canadian Magic Docks from Alaska?
Not a chance. Nope.
Why do you need a Magic Dock if you can't travel with it?
Cannot use it to get from A to B through British Columbia at this point. There's too much of a space. But other locations that they've been noticed in is Montrose, Colorado, Moses Lake, Washington, Vickersburg, Mississippi, Craig, Colorado, Kremling, Park Avenue in Colorado, and Washington, Indiana. So a total of, what is it? I thought the number was, it's not the number, it was a date. Okay. So I don't have the amount yet. 29 were installed to this point. So the installs are continuing to roll out. And of course, the article that we have linked to from TeslaBot, it goes on the basis of the work performed by supercharge.info. So you can go to that website and you can check out the Magic Dock stations yourself. And at any time they get a little icon beside it to indicate that it's a location that can be used by everybody. So
I'm curious to see where this Magic Dock situation goes, given the Supercharger Coalition, or is that just for people who won't sign up, like Lucid? Like everybody else who's still not signed up is like, at least we're considering it, seeing what's going to happen. But Lucid's like, nah, we don't want that. It's just a plug. Give us 900 volts and then we'll change the plug. It's just a plug.
It's more than that.
It's wrong, but I mean, if your customers are asking for it, you don't just tell them.
Yes, exactly.
You don't need it.
And I'm glad they're still deploying these.
For an hour and a half, but that's their choice.
There are a lot of CCS vehicles out there today, and this ensures that they have somewhere to plug in tomorrow. And even in 2025, 2026, when everybody else has gone to NACS, or everybody's gone to NACS at that point, in North America at least, there will still be spots for these CCS cars that people are going to be buying this year, next year. So yeah, just because NACS is the future for everybody doesn't mean that you should just stop installing these Teslas, doing the right thing by supporting these vehicles, even though they're not the ones that sold them. They're they still need a place to plug in.
There's also the thing that that not everybody's committing to free adapters. So I wonder if that has anything to do with it.
It might. Right. It might have something to do with it, but it's I know for a fact that Tesla is looking, of course, on its own map of superchargers, and they're looking at ideal locations to put those in place, right? So they may be building a Magic Dock supercharger lane that won't be as robust as the regular superchargers because there'll be far more of them, but they will probably build the Magic Dock to crisscross the country different ways, keeping them spaced out ideally, and allowing people to use them. But it is interesting, Patrick, as we go towards 2025, that's going to become less and less needed. If more and more manufacturers are switching to internal NACS ports it's just going to become less and less needed. But what's interesting here is that all these superchargers that are switching to Magic Docks, all that basically is happening is there's a change of the control arm or the wire and the plug, right? There may be the mechanism that allows it to drop out. That may be changed as well. So they're just going in and using the same supercharger and putting in a new cord with an end and of course a holder for that Magic Dock to hold into place.
It might just be like the home combined charger. It might literally just be a different end, and then you just dock. Assuming that the one that's already on the site isn't broken, just plug the existing cable Magic Dock, and they call it a day. So from years of watching Microsoft and reading their tea leaves and parsing their statements and noticing that Tesla does the same stuff, what if these adapters by 2024 are the Magic Dock? Which one would really piss some people off because they think they can just go and use them wherever, but no. And then two, it would also solve the issue of what about the poor implementations of the CCS port where if you plug in the NACS to AC or DC, you could have electricity on the wrong pins. I'm hoping that's not the case, but literally by the letter, those could be your adapters by 2024.
Well, I mean, Ford said they were going to supply the adapters to their customers, right? So that's not the same as just, oh, there's Magic Docks, go use them. And there are protocols in place to make sure that you don't electrify the wrong pins or apply the wrong type AC when you expected DC or whatever. So I don't think that's a technical problem that's easily solvable. And I think they will sell adapters or in some cases give away adapters. Depending on the OEM.
You do have
a new network and whatever else that has NACS.
You do have these different manufacturers all saying different things when it comes to the adapter. Almost everybody says Tesla's manufacturing them.
Right.
And then some say, yeah, we're giving them out, and others say Tesla's giving them out. And then you've got some that are saying they're not free. We're not giving. There's going to be some sort of a charge for it. So it's all over the board.
They don't know.
We did that story about, I think it was Bolex making adapters.
Yeah.
So that large order that they had, and that's going to be going to a lot of the auto OEMs would be who also would be ordering 10,000 of these things or whatever the number was.
And then we saw that EVgo, ChargePoint, and I believe EA all got together and agreed that not like a collusion, racketeering, cabal situation, but like they all literally agreed that if your adapter wasn't made by your car maker, they don't want you to bring it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing that they can do yet to detect or stop you. But if your car burns up and you broke that rule, then they would probably sue you for the price of the station.
Right. It'll give them plausible deniability that, hey, you were using it in violation of our terms of service, and so it's not our fault, it was yours, or So but back to the Magic Dock, the thing that I really think is cool about this, if you look at the way Electrify America rolled out, they were installing CCS stations and then one or two CHAdeMOs.
Yes.
And so those one or two CHAdeMOs could only be used by, I mean, this applies to both. You couldn't have a CHAdeMO vehicle pull up and plug into CCS or vice versa. So now you have these dedicated stations that are only good for those vehicles. And if you don't have exactly the right number of vehicles for utilization, and there are adapters.
Not necessarily that, but most of their installs were dual heads that you can only use one at a time, unlike everybody else's dual heads where it just power splits. Like theirs just shuts down the second port.
Right. So yeah, you're underutilizing the infrastructure that way. Whereas with
you get a leaf that shows up and now you can't charge the rest of your 150 kilowatts, or even worse than that, some Bolt is going at 50 kilowatts and could easily share with a leaf who also doesn't get above 50 kilowatts.
Right.
And now the leaf has to wait for an hour and a half.
Right, for no good reason, because it's possible. Yeah, so, but with Magic Dock, you've got it, whatever car pulls in, when they pull the handle out, it's going to have what they need, they plug it in, and it's good. And so there's not this, we have some dedicated to this and some dedicated to that. It's so much smarter.
So
Yes.
much easier on maintenance as well. And as Patrick said, you've kind of stranded assets after a while. Like, let's face it,
Chatamo is
Chatamo
dying.
is done. Like it's
Outside of Japan.
it's done in North America, like for
Yes.
sure. Like it's just you've got some of these units out there that half the unit will never be used, or an individual unit that was just Chatamo. It is now stranded. That asset will not be used, basically going forward. So,
I wonder if they have any Gen 1 90 kilowatt stations that are just sitting in inventory. They can just roll out for some of these older cars until the station itself dies. The same way they put the 250 marker on top, put a 90 on top.
Yeah,
Don't use this unless you got a slow car.
exactly. I'm sure that does exist out there. Next, Casey, we've got this interesting article from Shanghai. Did you happen to see this previously?
I mistook it for another article that we talked about, where this might be the same situation. This is alleged or actual? Basically the one I'm thinking of, they're talking about casting the whole car at once, and it would be a rear, a middle, and a front. There hasn't been any confirmation on that yet. The one I was talking about, but
this article from Tasmanian had quoted a report from Shanghai Securities News that Tesla has achieved a significant cost reduction for the production of the Model Y at Giga Shanghai specifically.
Yeah, and I can cover this one if you want, Mark.
Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So, like you said, it's from Tasmanian, and Tesla is able to reduce production costs for the underbody of the Model Y in Giga Shanghai by 40%. They've have a new die-cast technology for rapid molding, and the parts of the underbody that were previously installed separately are now installed as one component. This significantly increases the production efficiency. The weight of the car body is now reduced by more than 10%. In addition, there are significant cost advantages for this optimized structural design and advanced material processing. Just two more things here. The cost for the part in the vehicle were reduced by an impressive 40%. And so we don't have a whole lot of details about this yet. This is just what was reported. And last one, here's the Model Y was the manufacturer's first choice when they started doing casting in general. And making just the front and the rear casts were just the beginning. So this is the next evolutionary step in this process.
This sounds like they got either the same source or a second source on the what we talked about last week with they've got this they have this new structural sand casting technology rather than doing it all in metal like the other guys were doing, and they said it could be up to $6 million per vehicle if you do it the traditional way, which sounds like a lot of money, but at the same time, it also sounds like that's nothing to Tesla. But, this is the company that ripped the phones out of service to save some money, so why not do it a cheaper way if possible? Monroe is skeptical of weight savings because the current GigaCast is actually heavier than the outgoing car, but that just might be because they had to stack it up and build it so it can use the exact same skin panels as previous car. So there is a chance they could.
I think the problem that many of the other manufacturers out there that really didn't share the thought about a casting this large was the issue of getting an even amount of liquid metal into the mold so that it would solidify correctly and you'd have the strength required. Their injection process, their particular metal fundamentals that go into this liquid metal are different than anybody else. They've looked at the pressure being pushed into the mold. They've looked at how many places that they have to inject it in order for it to all get to the cracks and crevices inside the mold at a particular time so they can solidify and have the strength. That's a big part of this operation that many don't know how to do. It's just you could do this poorly and waste a lot of material by pushing out casts that maybe are not structurally as strong as they should be, or there's issues where it didn't mold correctly, or all those kind of things. So this is a big win if Tesla has performed this and can roll out a single cast as opposed to 2 or 3 that they're currently doing for the Y.
And just like the Gigacast, this isn't exactly new tech, but the fact that they've done it at this size and this scale, if the reporting is true, that part is new, because when you look at the traditional automakers, they did have something like the Gigapress, but much smaller, to do assemblies, like to do like the front undercarriage, or actually not even that big, because the teardown specialists were all saying that, oh, look at this, they've got a cradle, it's all one piece cast, this is the biggest I've ever seen outside of Tesla. So whatever they were casting before was obviously smaller with the Gigapress style. But don't forget their engine blocks and cylinder heads were sand cast, like this new tech. So again, bigger and more efficient than anything anybody else has been doing in the industry, which is.
But being able to chase something that's going to give you a 40% reduction in cost for that part, or for that series of parts, is a huge win. So that's going to benefit Tesla, of course, for the overall pricing of the vehicle and the ability to move the retail price as it's required, because they can lower it and not lose their margin. So that would be a huge plus as well.
Like, put it wherever they want to put it. Yeah,
exactly.
And then the other part of that, though, is that while they're putting it wherever they are, they can put some serious screws to whoever's giving them trouble in the market. Like we saw Ford help them out with getting NACS to be a standard by being first to move. But at the same time, though, if Ford had been one of the German folks that were blocking the charge port from existing at all, like in the case of the J17, 72, and CCS, if this Tesla existed then, they could have just applied their pricing and like, oh, we'll be the only ones making electric cars that people want because you are too expensive. They could do that.
So it'll be interesting to see if we start seeing Model Ys with this uniform casting, if we get any. And since it is in Asia, it's going to be tougher for us to find out somewhat, because I'm not hearing about anyone that's buying cars and tearing them down in China, but I'm sure there are probably competitors like BYD and others that are probably get their hands on the newest models. It's just that we don't hear about it over here in North America. So it'll be interesting to see if we do hear about this newer vehicle start to come out with this unified single casting.
Like whoever bought that container of Roadsters way back in the day.
That's right. Yeah, we had to wait a long time to hear about those, didn't we?
10 years supposed to find out about it.
Yeah, they were intended for teardown, so I'm glad they weren't torn apart. So
there's been grounded, so we don't have that particular avenue of information.
It's true. So are they doing any casting for the Model Ys to come out of Fremont yet?
The rear.
The rear. So they're doing rear casting. Okay.
The rear single piece, and then where the rear was 2 pieces, that moved into being 2 pieces for X and S front and rear.
Well, with that, gentlemen, I think we will wrap it up. Mr. Connor, any shout-outs for this evening for the folks out there?
As always, I'm with the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association. You can find us at OEVA. And we're doing our event a little late. So it's going to be in October. So, so check out National Drive Electric Week and find one near you, either this weekend, next weekend, because it's a whole week and then some. We kind of stretch those rules. And I blog occasionally at carswithcords.net. Check that out.
Fantastic. Mr. Green, what do you got for us?
Well, I live stream on Sundays at 1:10 p.m. Eastern over here at youtube.com/Casey Green. And occasionally, whenever the baby's not spilling stuff all over me, I try to edit a video and put it up on there. But you can see when the last one was.
Everything's covered with egg and cereal, so be careful. Be careful when you're watching Casey videos in the next little while.
Indeed.
Yeah. I want to give a shout out to National Drive Electric Week as well. Please look it up on the website and check it out. See something that's close to your neck of the woods and go visit one. It'll be fun. So try that out. And with that, we will wrap it up and get together next Wednesday. And together we will find out what is happening in the Tesla life. Everyone out there, have yourselves a great week.
Stay positive, test negative.
Thank you, Lee Moon.